How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be showing you how to make speed gauge like Diffrnt. We're going to be looking at a track, Pump It Up. As you can see, I'm in a slightly different location today. I'm currently in Malta. Also, if you think I'm sweating, it's not. I've just put on a load of moisturizer, but yeah, it looks like I'm just sweating. Just a quick update with the channel as well. I'm going to be back doing speed gauge videos every week, as well as UKG, over mono, that sort of stuff. Great, so here's a preview of what you'll have made by the end of the video. Great, just to let you know as well, I've dropped a new speed gauge pack. It's been about 11 months since I've dropped one, and everything in this track is made using Speed Gauge Volume 3 Serum Preset Pack and Speed Gauge Volume 4 Drums Pack. Check that out, the link for that is in the description. The Serum Pack is fucking awesome. I've really pushed the boat on this one and explored some of the new sounds in Speed Gauge. That's why it's taken me so long to get out. But yeah, it's got over 70 presets for making modern Speed Gauge, literally all the best bangers that I've dropped in the past sort of 6 months. Anyway, enough yapping, let's get straight into the video and see how this track's made. Great, the first one I'm gonna start with is that epic lead sound. Great, so let's start by looking at the MIDI. So it's actually the same as the bass. We're in the key of D minor. One thing worth noting with this track as well is 146 BPM, which is obviously quite fast. I feel like speed gauge is just getting faster and faster. When I started making remakes, like, I don't know, 2 years ago, I feel like the average was like 135. There's tracks as low as like 132. But now everything I'm sort of seeing is like 140 plus. People want more faster tracks, excitement, TikTok brain, you know, all that shit. But to be honest, I fucking love a fast track. So, and it's also called speed gauge. So speed that shit up. The MIDI itself, D, A, B flat, G, F. It's obviously a 2-bar loop. A lot of the sort of high energy tracks are 2-bar loops, and then a lot more of the sort of euphoric, grungy tracks, obviously going for the 4-bar. But yeah, it just helps because there's no real melody. I suppose this is a melody. You want something that's short and memorable, So something short that's repeating itself is way more memorable than like a massive loop like this with like loads of variation and all that sort of shit, you know. That's gonna be way easier to remember for like a listener. Obviously that's terrible, but you get the idea. That, just listen to that's way easier to remember. Great, so let's have a look at the presets. Yeah, this is also a preset from that Speed Gauge Volume 3 pack. So yeah, it's actually quite an interesting patch. Obviously quite simple waveforms, so just sine waves, saw waves. I guess it's in terms of the filter and the effect, that really interesting sound. I feel like hearing this in like a party or something like that, it's gonna get the crowd fucking going. It's quite a complicated patch, so I'm just gonna turn everything off and turn it back on. That way, when you're copying, you can sort of get the most detailed parameters, you know, correct, because it's quite a complicated patch if I'm doing it from scratch. Cool, so firstly, turn on oscillator A, basic shapes, and then select a sine wave, pitch it down 1 octave. Now we turn on oscillator B, so basic shapes, and then just the saw wave, and then detune it by 9 semitones. It's gonna sound like this. Let me turn on the noise. Always helps sticking out a sound. Then we turn on the filter. This is where the magic happens. So normal, band 12. You could probably try a band 24. Band 12, and we've set the cutoff to 786 or thereabouts. Maybe depending on the track, pick out a different frequency that fits best. But yeah, that's what we've gone for. Now you've got that, we need to turn on the effect. So we're gonna distort the fuck out of it. Mix 45, drive 64. EQ, taking out some of that top end, some of the low. Bit of delay. Hall. So Hall reverb, 3.8 seconds decay, and a mix. I think without that, not really there. With it, it's really getting there. That Hall really brings it a long way. Then we got the hyper, so 4 unison, and the detune at 88%. Gives it a nice bit of width. Filter, not really doing much. And then a final EQ just to top it all off. So we're taking out all that low end, and then we're boosting at 966 hertz. Great, so I'll show you how the drums are made. It's gonna be a fairly slow walkthrough, but it should be quite educational. So first we have this kick, and this just falls on every bar. If we have a look at the kick, it's just a kick from that pack I mentioned. It's got no processing on it. All I've got is this utility making it a little bit louder. By default, it makes it -12. So it's always good to just bring that back up. You can also do it here, just bring that up. But yeah, completely up to you. Utility. I basically put this as a default setting. So if you put one in and then you right click, set as default track, and then you don't have to keep dragging it up manually every time. Cool, so we have the kick. Then on every second beat, we have a clap. Then another clap. Then we have this hi-hat. That's just on the offbeat. And if you have a look at the velocity down here, it goes from low to high, giving that speed garage sort of swing. Then another one. Then we've got a rim. Just open this up. So if you click triplet grid, by default it won't be in triplet grid, so you've got to click triplet grid and then you can put that in. So I put in sort of the end of the half bar. It's quite subtle. If I turned it up, you can probably hear it better. But yeah, it's definitely in there and it helps give it a little bit of groove that you wouldn't probably necessarily know is there, but it definitely gives it some swing. And then we've got this top. So this is basically just a shaker that's been chopped into just a quarter of a bar and then repeated, and that's got no other effects on. And then we've done the same thing, but this is so an eighth of a bar, and that just helps give it some more swing. So without that, it's quite stagnant, right? And you add that, gives a bit of rhythm, and then again. It really helps fill out that midsection. A good speed garage loop to me has a little bit of dirtiness in it, and these really help to give that dirtiness, because also without that, it's just really clean, and that's not what we want. But without it, it's just so straight edge, isn't it? And you add these, bit of grit, bit of movement. Gives a bit of rolling vibe, you know. So yeah, I really like that loop. And yeah, obviously in context with the track. Yeah, just like a really good loop, you know. Yeah, this loop is also available in that pack. Next, we're gonna look at the bass. Cool, so if we have a look at the MIDI, we're in the key of D minor. There's also one thing to note as well, this track's quite fast, 146 BPM. Fairly simple, nice, bit of space in between some of the notes, but yeah, it's just D to A, down to A, the B flat, G and F. A nice 2-bar loop. So it's nice and catchy, you know. I feel like a lot of the best speed garage tracks are just 2 bars, unless they're like kind of big and euphoric. To get more of a rhythmic sort of bass note or bass melody, then yeah, just go for the 2-bar loop. It's the same sort of theory of like deep house. A lot of the most catchy deep house tracks are just 2-bar loops. Say like Wish You Were Mine by Philip George and people like that, you know. Cool, so if we have a look at the sound design, I've obviously now transitioned to Serum 2, and now, a lot like Steve Duda said, now he's using Serum 2 but he can't look at Serum 1, and unfortunately I've got that same bug. I think Serum 1 just looks like a dinosaur. I mean, I still do like it, but this is better. There's also so many cool waveforms, like all in here, like there's loads of fucking new shit, and you got like the sampler, granular. It's just fucking really good. It's a really good synth, and it doesn't cause any GPU issues, or it doesn't for me anyway. Firstly, we've got the sub. Sine wave, pitch down by 2 octaves. Oscillator A on, pitch it down by 2 octaves and plus 27. Oscillator B, down 2 octaves, minus 27, so these are playing against each other. And of course this is a subtractive synth, so we need to take out those horrible high frequencies. So turn this filter on, MG low 18, make sure the sub, A, B and the noise are all selected. A huge amount of res at 50%, bit of fat and a bit of drive. And I'm using this cutoff macro down here, so you drag that little arrow onto the cutoff, then drag this blue bit up using that little headphone icon. And then you can control it with this. So yeah, about there. Obviously, if you're not using the macro, then you can just drag it up like this. And yeah, make sure you selected notes mode so it moves with the note. Lets it more high end if it's a higher note, etc. Cool, and we also have this noise. Again, control this with a macro. And if you also drag that up, this helps add a little bit of dustiness to it, but you can definitely sort of overdo it. Let's move on to the effects. So the first thing we have is the hyper dimension on. We turn the hyper all the way off and put the dimension to 30%. We've then got this EQ. which has a slight gain. This is also being controlled by that cutoff. If we move down, we've got this distortion on tube mode, drive at 22, mix at 29. Of course, it's just fan it up a bit. And then after the distortion, we have this reverb, and that's just on 10%. Obviously, you could go a bit madder with the distortion, but yeah, I don't know, it's a pretty fat sound already, so it probably doesn't need it. Great guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you learned something new, and I will see you next week for another speed gauge banger. Cheers.